Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're talking the top NBA trade candidates eligible after January 15th. Shout out my man, Mike Scotto of HoopsHype.com. So let's get right down to it. Mike Scotto and Yossi Gozlan break down the trade candidates that are eligible to be traded after January 15th. And we'll start with the first one, Zach LaVine. All right. And I think Zach's definitely an interesting cookie for everyone because right now, if you guys have been watching, Zach LaVine has been on the rumor mill. We've heard the Los Angeles Lakers, the Miami Heat, I believe basically any team that could or can has been interested in. The Lakers, the Knicks, the Mavs, the Heat are all interested in this man, Zach LaVine. And supposedly I've been reporting on it that there's been growing frustration with him amongst the locker room. And the Knicks have plenty of draft picks they can offer alongside salaries to reach LaVine's. While Dallas is always looking to improve the roster around Luka Doncic, Dallas would have more trade flexibility and draft pick compensation after this season. So it's more in their interest that they would do it after the season, not during the season, to trade the Dallas Mavericks for Zach LaVine, as the Mavericks don't want to part with a first-round pick unless they think an incoming player can help them win a championship this season. Miami's best trade package is Tyler Hero. Overall, Chicago hasn't shown a willingness to sell, and they say they don't think he's going to be a trader, but the Bulls were in the lottery for 4 straight years until last season, and they probably don't want to go back. And they had a good year last year with Ball before he got hurt, so let's just assume that this isn't going to happen but we know who could go out and get him. I just don't think it happens this season for a multitude of reasons. Now, let's talk about Bradley Beal. You guys know I love me some Bradley Beal. I'm a Washington Wizards fan. And with that being said, I'll admit that around the league, it's been speculated that Bradley Beal could be flipped down the line after signing his max contract. Wizards management has planned to build around Beal and wants to retain Kristaps Porzingis and Kyle Kuzma, allegedly, but Kuzma's probably going to opt out and go somewhere else. And if they were able to re-sign Kuzma and Porzingis, they could bring in another guy as a fourth. And Kuzma's considered a big part of the future for the Wizards, according to a league source who spoke with HoopsHype. The Wizards believe they are more talented than their record shows. And like the Bulls, this is a team that I think is buyers. And last year, when we saw them out of the playoff mix and Beal suffered a wrist injury, they went ahead and traded for Kristaps Porzingis to show that they're going to continue to trade and make upgrades no matter what happens. And the only way I see Beal getting on the trade market is if he actually requests one trade out. He has no trade clause. And Beal will continue to be the guy everyone keeps an eye on, similar to LaVine. It's also interesting to see how his trade value looks because he's on a max deal with no trade clause, so he has a say on what team he can be traded to. Now, let's move on to the next guy, and that is DeAndre Ayton. All right, DeAndre Ayton. It's been weird. Okay, DeAndre Ayton supposedly doesn't speak to his coach, and supposedly he was less than thrilled about, his offer sheet being matched by the Pacers. And I just don't see Phoenix moving Ayton unless they get an elite star back along the lines like Kevin Durant. And we knew Durant, when he was available, that the Durant deal was going to be Ayton, Bridges, and Cam Johnson. But at this point, Phoenix is focused on moving Jay Crowder and in packaging him with either Landry Shamet or Dario Saric, as those salaries could work in some trade talks. And we've touched about it in the past, look, if you package Landry Shamet and Jay Crowder, you can go get yourself John Collins. But look, throughout the offseason, we've seen the possibility of the Suns signing and trading Ayton on a max contract to help match salaries for Durant, and that didn't pan out. So it doesn't seem like any clear all-stars are available, and Ayton is the guy that you would use to match. And the other thing is Robert Sarver still has say in trades because the sale to Matt Ishbia isn't likely to get finalized until after the trade deadline. So all of that culminates into a weird situation that I don't see DeAndre Ayton leaving this season, to be honest. Now, here we are, Nick Claxton. I'm a big fan of his. Supposedly, they were getting first-round pick offers for him last season, and he signed a 2-year, $17.3 million deal. He's averaging 2.5 blocks, an effective field goal percentage of 74.3. And teams like Toronto allegedly offered a first-round pick for Claxton last year, even though it was protected, but they turned it down. And I don't see them moving him at this point unless they can get a stud. Like maybe if they try to trade for John Collins, but I doubt it. Because I think John Collins could fit next to him. And you want Abe and TJ Warren. Nick Claxton have been all huge reasons for this team's success. And they're on a contract. I think they value him pretty well. And they give him a longer deal since he's going to be due for a raise. But I don't see them extending him before that. I think they like what they did here. He was a second-round pick that panned out well out of Georgia. So they're just going to leave it at that. Lou Dort, man. I love me some Lou Dort. Do you guys? I love Lou Dort. Lou Dort's a fun guy. Lou Dort literally was signed because it was a long-term deal. They viewed him as one of the elite perimeter defenders in the game and a key player next to Shea. You remember during that three-point barrage he had in the playoffs when Chris Paul was on the team? And I love the contract. And he fits well. And OKC's in a weird spot where they could be sellers, but they're not. They could make the playoffs. And Dort's fit, like, it's interesting. And I can't, like, really see, them taking on a bit of bad money this trade deadline with some trade exceptions. And that's just, literally interesting as all hell to see how it's all played out. Because this is a team that I think Lou Dort's a huge part of it. So for me, I think they keep Lou Dort because this team needs defense. So let's continue to move down here. We got Victor Oladipo and Dwayne Dedmon. You guys remember like 2 seasons ago when Dwayne Dedmon had a career resurgence on the Miami Heat? And this is a team that's never been able to replace the loss of PJ Tucker. But Victor Oladipo and Dwayne Dedmon are 2 tradable contracts. And if there was a team that I felt pretty good about making a deal, it's the Miami Heat, because there's a lot of things that they can do. Oladipo's obviously a guy who could be traded. He has veto rights over any trade since he signed a 1+1 deal, and he's still working towards getting back to form. And if they trade him, though, they lose his bird rights, which really aren't valuable because he's probably not getting that much in free agency. And it's the same as his player amount that he probably get. While Dwayne Dedmon, I actually think there's a good likelihood that Victor remains in Miami, while Dwayne Dedmon, I think he's going to be traded. He's making 4.7. That's well above the minimum. And he makes enough money that you could package someone and get decent value for him. So, yeah, I don't expect him to stay. Now let's move on to Mo Bamba. I feel bad for this man. Mo Bamba got his job stolen by Bull. And a lot of teams out there could get him, okay? Mo Bamba signed a 2-year deal with a second-year non-guaranteed, and a lot of people viewed him as a potential trade chip. And let's be honest, as of right now, I don't see the Magic getting a first-round pick due to him. And this is from Mike Scotto doing some digging around. And I think Bamba's deal is super tradable. And they're loaded with big men, and they have cap flexibility. I just think right here that if a team like the Lakers, like the Mavericks, the guy's still shooting almost 40% from 3. Not a bad player. So I think that's going to definitely bring up some stuff. There's a bunch of teams out there. We're seeing like people are interested in Nerlens Noel. What you get with Mo Bamba is a guy like Nerlens Noel who can grab rebounds and shot block, but also shoot threes at a high clip. Another guy who can shoot threes at a high clip, not as long, but similar skill set, Chris Boucher. Turns 30 this month. And if they do decide to make some trades, I think Chris Boucher could be a guy. I really like him. He's a good backup power forward and center. And the Raptors look like they need to sort things out with so many of their starters due for raises soon. Eventually, this might just trickle down to Boucher being the odd man out. And the Raptors are a team that needs to decide if they make some trades because they're going to have to pay people, and they're looking at outside of the play-in right now. And I don't think that's something that they particularly want to do. So let's talk about the last guy, and that's Cody Martin. I love Cody Martin. I doubt Charlotte trades him. I think Charlotte really likes this guy. They've taken time to develop him. He fits the culture. His contract's really well. But just keep an eye on the Hornets because Mason Plumlee, Kelly Oubre are expiring deals, and all guys that could be packaged here. So let me hear your thoughts down below. Bye-bye.